first game. So jumping on in. Spawning here in the top left, our teal Zerg player from Validity Gaming. It is Apocalypse. And I didn't change my settings. We'll get those next game. In the bottom left of Redshift, one of the most ridiculous maps in this map pool, our pink Terran player from Born Gosu, it is Kaidos. And since there's not a lot going on, I'll go ahead and just start talking about the league itself while I fix my settings. This is an all-kill league, but it isn't like an open. It isn't open to everyone. It's only open to platinums and diamonds, and because of that, they actually set it up so that you're only able to send out your lower league players first. So we do start off with both of the plat matches. No matter what happens, those get played out. If you happen to not have a platinum player that night, you forfeit those matches and you go into the diamond players. But they try to get the lower league players in first, and then they switch over into the diamond players. So normally you're not going to see an all kill. It can happen though. I have seen some really interesting builds out of platinum players that diamonds just they don't know what to do against it. Especially if they're well practiced and it's a really good all in. Oh yeah, works perfectly. But as it stands, this game looking pretty standard so far, despite the map's ridiculousness. Both players expanding pretty quickly. We do have this first gas that was taken after the first hatchery and then into the pool for our Zerg players. Nothing really quick. Neither player opted for this strange gold base or any shenanigans with it. Not a huge surprise. This is a lot safer to go ahead and take this expansion down here. Even though it seems like it wouldn't be since this is hidden behind, but it's just all this open space in here. It's just so weird to try and defend. We do the first 4 lings out, or on the way on the map. Reaper is on the way across the map, about to get into the main base here. Another Zerg player, he's just going to poke around, see what's up, but actually lings are in decent position. At least to poke this away initially, but of course they are slow lings, and he's going to have to walk away from that. Ooh! Actually kills one ling with a grenade. He might run directly into a queen, but queen hasn't popped that yet, so he's going to get out of there just fine. Didn't really see anything though. He didn't actually get into the main mineral line area, so he didn't see anything actually happening yet. Apocalypse, super quick third here. That's really, really nice, or at least I assume it's going to be a third. Yeah. Third base coming down really quickly there, so really nice early setup here from our Zerg player. He has no fear, despite perhaps playing above his league a little bit, since his border did show gold. We do have a Balinese coming down as well, so this third could just be sort of a feint. This still could be some sort of an all-in. But Banelings are always a nice little safety thing to have. The Reaper does go down, actually, but the Reaper did see that the Balinese was there, so he knows that is a possibility, Kaidos does, and he can deal with that however he'd like to. He is going to this factory here. The reactor switched over. Tech lab on the barracks. Starport's coming down as well. I'm curious if he's going to go into a Banshee, if he wants to just start stim really quick. Yeah, looks like he's going to be going into a Banshee, or anything tech-related. I don't really know. He's just making add-ons right now with this barracks instead of making units. He's getting... excuse me. He is getting some Hellions out. We got 10 lings on the way. So this really could just be an all-in, depending on what we see the drone production from our Zerg player. If he's going to keep going to those, or if he just keeps just spamming lings. He does have speed, does have the Bane as finish, as I said. And he is actually... he's kind of hiding the lings. Maybe not intentionally, but he is hiding the lings. Starport is switching over to this tech lab here, so... yeah, that's a... well, we'll have to see. Just waiting for something. There we go. Banshee is in production, but it is a bit supply block, so that's not going to come out for a long time. A bunch of lings in production here. He does see the Hellions now. Got a bunch of lings out on the map. Doesn't really want to go up against those. Random scan here, I'm assuming, on accident. Bunch of lings popping out, but Hellions over here at the third base. Gonna get some nice kills off of these lings. Some good stuttering backwards to get as much kills as you can. Staying off that creep there really makes it difficult for the Zerg player to actually surround anything here. More Hellions rolling in here. And despite the number of lings that have been made, there's not much in the way of Queen support to really push these Hellions away right now for the Zerg player. So he's kind of struggling to deal with this at the moment. And it's just 6-7 Hellions. We'll have to see. Actually going into another factory here, so just this small amount of Hellions right now is really causing some trouble here for our Zerg player. He's got a bunch of Lings, actually making some Banelings as well, but those aren't going to really help. They're going to be even slower than the Lings. Queen actually dies here as well. Hellions, well, just looking around, see the Banelings there. I mean, you can walk in and try and take those out if he wants to. First Banshee's going to be on the way. There isn't really anything in the main to deal with it. He is making a Hydra Tin, but that's not going to help too much. At the same time, these Hellions are still over here, threatening some work. There's no cloak for this Banshee. I don't think he's even got cloak on the way. Okay, yeah, cloak did just start. I think he realizes it. He wanted a cloak there, but he doesn't have it. He probably, when he initially wanted to start this, didn't have the money for it. A bunch of Hellions over the third base, but another Queen pops out, and Lee's coming in for support. Going to be able to finally shoo these away, but they are still getting so much value here. Just looking at resources lost. Doing a lot more loss here for our Zerg player, but Banelings actually roll and crash right into that Hellion there. That's a lot of damage done. Third command center is being put down on location here. There was another factory added on. There's probably another factory in the main. No, this is just okay. He's got 2 factories really quickly, but he is going into bioplay, but I don't think he's started stim. Yeah, he's not even started stim, so he's going to be super late on that. There's a tech lab coming up in the factory, so maybe he wants to go into Blue Flame. It's a possibility. Or just tanks and Hellion production. Could even go into double tanks once the cloak finishes up and he gets off of that with a starport. Have to wait and see. This stands, most players kind of, after that initial harassment, have gone back and just waiting for the other to make some sort of a move here. We do have the muscular almonds coming down for our Hydras, so they will be moving a little bit quicker here. I did not get the range just yet on those. We did have 8 Hydras in production. Both of the Banshees, well, they're near the main base. They aren't actually doing anything just yet. They're going to have Cloak now, but there's an Overseer already sitting here waiting for it. Oof. There he goes. He does Cloak. But he can't really do anything with those Banshees. Still, Banshees, they're nice to have, just in general, especially if you run into some Queens that are spreading creep without the help of an Overseer with it. It can be tough to deal with. And we're just getting on top of the army itself. You can do a lot of damage. He needs to cloak this Banshee or it's going to go down real quick. Actually, both of them might die. Yep. Both died because they weren't cloaked. Sad story. Kaidos' third has finished up. He is starting to mine over there. Baklov does have his 4th base on the way as well. A bunch of Spore Collars being made. He's actually got +1 armor plating for his mech units, and he's getting +1 attack for his bio. He's pushing out here kind of this, well, it's a little bit of a timing, but he doesn't have any upgrades for his bio. He doesn't have stim. He doesn't have combat shield. He's got a single medevac. He's got a couple SCVs here to repair and help. But this is not the best of pushes, and it looks like possibly Baklov saw a good amount of that, so he's going to be able to get on top of most of it before it even gets set up. But this isn't much of an army here for Baklov. Looking at army supply, 63 to 54. A lot of that is in production. There's 22 Lings that just popped out. Tanks were not sieged up, and of course without stim, though I guess the Zerg player doesn't know that the Terran doesn't have stim. This isn't as scary, but it's still so difficult to actually push into there. And I don't think he has Baneling. Okay, he does have Baneling speed, JK. He's got Baneling speed, so he could make a bunch of Banes and kind of deal with this, but as it stands, he just doesn't have the units to really deal with it. He's got a bunch of Hydras that are going to be popping here shortly, but they're not trading too well against this unupgraded bio. Hydra is still pretty darn squishy, especially when your forces aren't all together. Tank is providing some cover fire from back in the back here. You got 5 kills on one of them, and the second one just showed up recently. Hydras are walking into just this firing line, and despite the lack of upgrades here for our Terran player, he's killed off pretty much the entire Zerg army. And the army is just trickling in slowly for the Zerg player, and they're all just getting murdered as they come in. 11 workers have been killed as well. There we go. GG. Kaidos will take set number 1 here. So that was a game. It started out really well for Apocalypse. I liked how he opens, nice and safe, nice and standard. He kept the Reaper from really doing anything. Kaidos made a hefty number of mistakes, but he was able to power through that. His production behind all of that, despite getting, not having the upgrades that he needed to have, the production behind it was really good. So he just had enough. He had plenty of units, and he killed his opponent, and that's what works in StarCraft. So, congrats to him. We will be waiting for Validity's second player. See who that is going to be here shortly. But until then, we'll be back in a few minutes.